My God, I hate drugs.
In other news, the ACT Teachers Party List reacts to President Duterte's story supposedly confessing to a priest about a sexual situation involving a house help. Representative Franz Castro says the president's act was, quote, really disgusting, uncalled for. Castro calls out the president for sharing the story amid the calamities the country is experiencing. The lawmaker also says the president should just focus on helping the residents affected by Tropical Depression Usman. In his speech at an event in Kidapawan City yesterday, President Duterte narrated to a priest in detail a sexual act with a helper. Here's the president in his own words.
Ganon man yan. Kayo, ayaw lang ninyo hindi ninyo masabi dito. Ako wala man ako media. Totoo man. So, it's true. Lahat man mga bata dumaan haba ng hinahawakan ka naman.
Malacanang comes to President Duterte's defense. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo says Mr. Duterte made up an anecdote to dramatize how he and his fellow students were sexually abused when they were in high school. He adds, and we quote, he purposely added and spliced the story with vulgarity to characterize the behavior of the priest who insisted to hear more sins during their confessions when there were none. Panelo says it was a concocted story. Panelo ends his statement by saying the president will not change his political signature, which has endeared him to the masses. President Duterte says we should embody the patriotism of our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. He issued a written message to commemorate the 122nd anniversary of Rizal's martyrdom. Rizal was convicted for sedition and executed by firing squad in Bagong Bayan, or present-day Luneta Park, on December 30, 1896. The president says Rizal's courageous life and inspiring works have been instrumental in awakening our collective consciousness to foster our identity and take a stand against our oppressors. He adds Rizal's example continues to encourage us as we pursue ways to address the social ills that confront us. Representing the president, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio led the wreath-laying ceremony in the city this afternoon. Welcome back. 45 are confirmed dead in Bicol after Tropical Depression Usman caused floods and landslides in the region. Albay-based journalist Rosas Olarte joins us on the line. Rosas, what's the latest there?
Yes, as of 5 o'clock this afternoon, 45 people are confirmed dead after Tropical Depression Usman wreaked havoc in the Bicol region. The Office of Civil Defense here is still in the process of confirming the number of casualties. Its Bicol Regional Director, retired Colonel Claudio Yucot, says the province of Camarines Sur has 16 deaths, 13 died in Albay due to landslides, 6 died in Sorsogon, 3 in Camarines Norte, and 7 in Masbate. Yucot says this number is expected to increase as reports are still coming in. The protocol needs confirmation of the management of the dead and the missing, or the MDM, headed by Department of the Interior and local government if death is typhoon-related. You could say some of the areas in Camarines Sur are still submerged in floodwaters and people are still in their homes. Authorities have activated land and sea response units to rescue people. Their search and retrieval operations are also non-stop to look for possible survivors in landslide areas. You could say more than 1,400 families, or at least 6,000 individuals, evacuated across the Bicol region. He says they did not implement preemptive evacuation as people wanted to stay together on New Year's Eve. Meanwhile, Albay Governor Al Francis Bicharas already requested the Sangguniang Panalawigan of Albay to enact a resolution declaring Albay be placed under state of calamity. Back to you, Ina.
Thank you. That was Rosas Olarte reporting from Albay. Meanwhile, the death toll in eastern Visayas due to Usman climbs to 9. 4 died in Lope de Vega, northern Samar, 2 in Paranas, Samar, and 3 deaths in Calbayog City due to drowning. According to the Office of Civil Defense Eastern Visayas, there are 6 municipalities that were directly affected with more than 800 families or more than 2,000 200 individuals affected. This is aside from almost 5,400 families or 19,200 individuals who were displaced due to preemptive evacuation. President Rodrigo Duterte distributed more than 6,000 certificates of land ownership award to agrarian reform beneficiaries in North Cotabato last night. Mr. Duterte also assured farmers that the government will continue the land reform program as fast as it can. During his speech, the president also hit the New People's Army for urging farmers to rise up against the government. The president believes as long as there's no land reform, armed conflict will never end. Meanwhile, agrarian officials say the distribution of land certificates aims to improve the lives of local farmers as part of the government's advocacy. The distribution in North Cotabato covers more than 11 hectares of land. Officials say this is the largest land holding ever given to beneficiaries in the history of the country's agrarian reform program. Still ahead, motorists in south of Metro Manila are in for a treat on New Year's Eve. And Naggagalaiti Manila responds to the Environment Department's request for the luxury resort to stop its record-breaking balloon drop event on New Year's Eve. Our correspondent, Paulo Barcelon, is in Parañaque City joining us live for an exclusive report. Paulo, can you tell us more about Okada's letter to the DNR? Are they going to push through with the event?
Ina, there's no word yet from Okada Manila on whether or not they will push through with the event. But the Department of Environment and Natural Resources says it stands by its earlier order to the management of Okada Manila and Cove Manila to abort its controversial balloon drop event, which has elicited criticisms on social media. This after the DNR had received a letter from the management detailing their plans on how to dispose of and recycle 130,000 balloons which will be used for the drop. DNR Undersecretary Benny Antiporda shared a copy of the letter to CNN Philippines, which states what they will do with the balloons. Antiporda says they have considered the letter, but they will stand by the order, citing the potential of the balloons to produce, quote, extravagant amounts of waste. The letter says Okada and Cove Manila will turn over the balloons to a company, which will then process the balloons into materials for making chairs and eco bricks. Cove Manila, meanwhile, will fund the transformation of the balloons into eco bricks, including the delivery to the processing site. Right now, Ina, here in Okada, Manila, there's no word yet, like I mentioned earlier, on what will happen to the event, but we're still waiting on their statement, and they told us that they will be releasing a statement, but for now, that's all what I've been hearing from Okada Manila management all day as we are closely monitoring the story. Ina?
Okay, thanks, Paulo. That was Paulo Barcelon reporting. What are the traditions you can do to be lucky in 2019? This is Newsroom Weekend on CNN Philippines. Stay tuned. Our viewers on Facebook, I'd like to greet some of you. Oh no, na-exit ko. I hope the greetings still appear. Okay, Jagger Tanudra from Agusan del Norte, Ronald Estrada, Susan Rosales watching from Toronto. Of course, we'd like to hear you comment on some of our stories for the day. Unfortunately, hindi na po lumabas na naman because na-exit ko quickly. MR or Mr. Ben Stoney watching from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Jelian Saad also joining us online. Just a quick recap of our top stories. Okada Manila or Cove Manila has already responded to the to the order of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources na ipatigil po yung kanilang ball drop event supposedly tomorrow. Okada, in its letter to DNR, has not yet categorically said if they will be pushing through or canceling with the event. However, it did again give assurances that the 130,000 balloons that they are planning to use supposedly for the event tomorrow will be disposed of properly. They've assured that these are made of biodegradable latex materials and that proper precautions will be taken. Now, humabol po si Kurt Coleman watching from Japan, Marilyn Cordero watching from Kuwait.